Good morning, everyone. We will just start with our demo session on WebMethods. Having 10 plus years of experience, and I'm having around 5 plus years of experience in providing trainings that include WebMethods. Before we see the course curriculum, I'll just want you guys to just have some knowledge on what WebMethods is, why it came into picture, what was the actual need of WebMethods, why WebMethods. There are few questions which needs to be answered, and for that I'm going to show you a few things. Let me open another PPT. Before we go into WebMethods, we should understand what WebMethods is and why it came into picture. So basically, we will have to understand a term that is called integration. So what is integration actually? Then we will deep dive into WebMethods. Okay. So integration means, when you go with this term, it means integrating smaller pieces of entities and forming a large one. Means combining smaller pieces of entities and forming a large one. Means I am just taking each application in my organization and I am making them work like they are one application from outside. Outsiders can never know that inside your organization there are multiple sub applications. No, it will behave as a single application. So that is the main flavor of integration. You can have hundreds of applications operating on hundreds of different platforms, but when you are integrating it, it should be something like from outside that it is only one thing. Like when we use a Flipkart or when we use Amazon or when we use any banking site, when we place our request from the web page, from the UI page, you never know, right? At the background there are multiple things that is coming in the picture. So if I say there is Flipkart, so you are going to first log in. So when you log in, there is a identity management system software there. After login, when you browse for products that you want to see, there will be an warehouse management system from where the available items will be picked up. When you place the order, you will be redirected to a payment gateway page. So it is hosted in different applications. As a user, you don't feel that difference, right? For you, as Flipkart as a one name is one application. That is what main benefit of integration is. We'll quickly see what integration, like I just gave a brief about integration. We'll see like how it came into picture and all those things. So you see, we have a term called EAI, that is Enterprise Application Integration. So Enterprise Application Integration is something like which will represent the task of integrating various applications so that information can be processed and shared freely. EAI is, it will be something which will be there in the middle layer. That's why it is also called middleware. And you will have some applications getting operated in business process layer, some in messaging layer, some in application layer, some in database layer, right? And you will have the middleware component in the middle. So suppose the business process layer wants to interact with database layer. In that case, there are some limitations like business process layer say operates in Java and database layer operates in say SQL, right? Now if you send a Java request to SQL system, they will not understand, right? The language is different. It is something like you are speaking German to a person who does not understand Japanese. So in that case, you need to have an interpreter in between, right? Who is going to translate the German to Japanese so that communication can go on. The same thing is done by middleware here. So in our case, it is WebMethods. So business process layer will send the request to WebMethods. WebMethods is going to see, okay, it is sent by system A and the request is meant for system B. System B understands SQL. Okay, so let me convert this request to SQL and then call the database layer. Similarly, database layer will send back the response in SQL language only. Now EAI will see that, okay, it is a response for the request which was sent by system A. Okay, so I need to convert it to Java back. Okay, so what it will do, it will just convert that SQL response to Java and it will share back the response. That's how, in a very simple way, the execution goes on. Okay, so now I have given you an example of only one-to-one system. You can have hundreds of systems and hundreds of communication can go on like this, and all the conversion, all the routing and everything will be taken care by this middleware layer. That was a brief introduction about that. Next we will see a brief history about how things came into picture. Like in early days, we didn't have any concept of integration, right? In 1980s also, we didn't have any concept of integration because things were very much departmentalized at that time. Whatever software modules were there in place, they were centric to some department. Means if you take a bank, we have a loan department, right? We have an account opening department. So each department's softwares were standalone. There was no interaction among them. That's how it was. Now, gradually, packaged software solutions came into picture, like ERP, PeopleSoft, JDBC. These are very important softwares and these were very much in demand, okay? But the only drawback they had was you cannot use all of them together. If you want to use SAP, you can use SAP, but you cannot use PeopleSoft along with SAP. SAP is something which is related to ERP, which is very much required. PeopleSoft, large organizations will need the data to need these people of software to maintain data for their customers, employees and other things. It was becoming a need to have all of them as the business evolved, right? We couldn't. At that time, it was a need like, no, we want something which is going to make us enable the use of ERP systems as well as PeopleSoft systems, as well as it will not hamper the existing system which is running. It will add something on top of that. So it is like that if you say a big client like Walmart, okay, Walmart wants to add SAP into a system, so it doesn't want to affect its existing applications, right? It wants to add it on top of that. So this could be done only by introducing AI or middleware technology. That is what WebMethods is doing. So gradually the dependency on the middleware system increased day by day, and right now you cannot think of having something as which will serve you this purpose of adding new applications, removing old applications, platform independent software applications. All those things can't be fulfilled if you don't use WebMethods in your organization. That was the background. So I took some time, but I just wanted to make you guys understand that how it came into picture. Like, I'll just show you two more things so that it is more clear. Say, if there is no middleware integration in the place, then how it will look like. Say, these are the source systems, these are the target systems, right? You will have to go for point-to-point integration. You understand, right? Like, if you do this, you cannot scale up. Means if you want to connect 5 systems like this, there is a formula 10 into n minus 1 by 2. For 5 systems, you will have to do 5 into 4 by 2 means 10 communication lines. Say the system count increased to 10. So it's going to be 10 into 9 by 2 means 45. So you see your system count increased by 5 and your integration points count increased by 45. Like means it will be from 10 to 45 means it is increased in 35 number is increased. The same thing if it is increased by say 50 can happen, right? Your organization can grow in future. It can have multiple partners. It can have multiple interaction with systems. Say it is 50. In that case, it will be 50 into 49 by 2. You can calculate, right? So integrating systems will be a huge headache when your organization grows, okay? So that's why we don't prefer this one because it's not at all scalable, and there is few more things like if everything will be very closely connected, if something goes wrong in it, chances are there that 1, 2, 3 will be get impacted as well, right? So we don't want that. We want something which should be decoupled architecture in which we will have applications which will be working standalone, and if something goes wrong in one, it should not affect others. So say if you have middleware in place, A is connected to middleware, one is connected to middleware. So there is no direct communication between A and one. When A wants to send something to one, it will just come to middleware this, and it will just pass on information by converting and other things. So middleware can itself perform operations like routing, transforming, aggregating, separating, converting the data and everything, right? It is one-stop solution for all your problems. So that was the background of integration and WebMethods. This is our today's agenda, and I just cover these things: introduction, request, integration, advantages of middleware, and other things. We'll see these points, okay? Now, if I talk about advantages of middleware, then these are the advantages. At least it will share the real-time information access among the systems. Information will be shared among all the systems at the same time without any delay or without any problem. Streamlines the business processes and helps raise organizational efficiency. Definitely, all the applications can talk with each other in your organization. Then the business efficiency will be huge, because there won't be any delay or lag due to communication channel issues and all. Okay. Of course, it maintains information integrity across multiple systems. So since it is dealing with multiple systems, so information integrity should be maintained. Means if A is sending something for B, it should not go to C. It should go to B only. And also, if someone wants to take data from A, only the authorized person should send the request, and those authorizations mechanisms should be there in place. That is the integrity across multiple systems. Then of course, is it expand? If I said this earlier also, like if an organization wants to connect to new systems, it doesn't want to impact its existing ones, then it should always go for middleware because it allows to integrate all the systems easily. That's the biggest advantage. There are others also. The list is endless, but in a nutshell, these are the things. That was the advantage. Next, we will see a case study. Case study in the sense, it was something which we developed during our tenure in one of the big clients. Like they wanted to have e-commerce into their business. Means it was a big retail chain of the world, and it had the requirement of adding e-commerce into its system so that people across the globe can place orders. and the business can be expanded, okay, without any location constraint or anything. The first thing was like when we thought like e-commerce, so what data should be shared? Like for customers, the data will be different, and for the employees of the organization, the data will be different. So based on the user role, data which particular user can see will be different, right? So we decided to share like what should be shared to users and what should be shared to employees. What all details shoppers will want and they will need. Because you want to show as much details as you can to shoppers so that they get interested in buying something, right? That was required. It had already a stable ERP system running. So how to add this e-commerce system into their stable ERP system? That was another challenge, right? This was the overall design of the applications. SAP part and WMS part were already there in place. And these was the e-commerce portals that were going to get introduced. That is something like if user is logging to Genesis and it is placing an order, that order will come to WebMethod in XML format, and then that XML format will be converted to IDOC format. What is IDOC format? So IDOC format is something which SAP understands, okay? If you want to send something to SAP, you will have to send it in IDOC. So that XML was converted to IDOC and was sent to SAP system. SAP system replied back in IDOC only, like yeah, the order has been placed. Now WebMethod received that IDOC and it converted that IDOC into XML and shared it with Genesis, and the user got a message on the screen, your order has been placed. Okay, so this is just one of the path. There were other flows also, like this express order had to deal with text file, wholesalers were dealing with web services, the step system was dealing with zip files. Okay, so multiple systems were dealing in a different way, but for all of them WebMethods provided the one-stop solution, and it was very much successful project, and it is running till date very fine without any issues. A brief about SAG WebMethods we'll see it in the next. So WebMethods was an enterprise company that was founded in 1996. So you can understand, right? It was founded in 1996 means it is 24-25 years old software, but it's not like that it is that much old, because every 6 months it enhances its versions and it upgrades it with the latest technologies and trends. Being the pioneer of this such a old company, it is having a vast pool of clients which are working on WebMethods. Of course, since it has enhanced its capabilities time to time, so the new clients are also getting added every time, and the existing clients are also enhancing their system using WebMethods. So there is a lot of dependency on WebMethods in the integration market. In 2007, WebMethods was acquired by Software AG. Software AG is a company which is headquartered in Germany. It retained the name WebMethods because by 2007 WebMethods was already a very big name in the market. It used WebMethods as to identify a software suite encompassing process improvement, SOA enablement, IT modernization, and business and partner integration. So the SOA enablement part and all those things, process improvement part, we'll see this in our course down the line. We have topics based on this where we will discuss all these things in details. Okay, so WebMethods is definitely a market leader in integration domain. In our training program, what we are going to do is we are going to do the core development activities first of all. Along with that, there will be some admin activities, and along with that, I'll show you the installation of components like designer, integration server, universal messaging, JDBC Adapters, file handling, training network, etc. Means these are the components primarily we are going to work on. Starting from installation, then development, then admin. We will show you all the possible things that is required for a WebMethods developer to know, so that you can easily be showcased as a person who is having 3 to 4 years of development experience in WebMethods at least, so that you can find opportunities accordingly. We'll have some more insights on the course technology in the market. WebMethods, I said, like it is a pioneer of integration technology, has a vast pool of clients which are very much satisfied with the product. Opportunities of WebMethods is relatively high as the client base is big. Okay, WebMethods is also upgraded with the latest trends in the market like cloud integration, IoT. So yeah, the scope is very much good and it is going very strong, and it will go future as well. Next is insights. In coming days, what's going to happen? The technology stack is expanding, right? We have new kinds of applications coming in picture every day. So in that case, integration is going to play a major role, because you can have new technologies coming into place, but integrating all of them is a big challenge. And things moving to cloud, the challenge is increasing day by day. Means on-premise part still is okay, but when you go for cloud integration, you need something which is very much robust, which can be trusted, right? Because already there are some security issues when you host something on cloud. So you need something which will provide a robust security management system as well. Not only integration, along with that, a robust security management which WebMethods is providing. So people will definitely go for something which is already very much stable in market. Market trend is going for cloud integration, of course, and WebMethods is doing very good over there. Also, we are seeing the API-led frameworks are very much used nowadays also, and it will be used more in future. Everything will be API-based. You can only just consume the APIs and you can just increase your system's use like that. For this API-led framework also, WebMethods have multiple components already developed, such as API Gateway, API Portal, etc. to meet the needs of clients. That is the overall scope and the insights and the market trend. Certifications, yes, it will be good if you guys go for the certification. Right now, the certification which is very much in demand is WebMethods Certified Integration Developer. So after you do this course, you will be easily qualified for the certification course and you will be easily able to complete. This certification course has 60 multiple choice questions and you will get 180 minutes to pass, and the 60 multiple choice questions will have a pass percentage of 66%, so you will have to pass accordingly. So if you in roundabout, I'll say you, like if it is something like 60 questions, you should answer 40 questions in right. If your 40 questions are correct, you are going to clear the examination easily. So that was the certifications part. Now we are going to discuss one of the topics which we are going to discuss in our course, but as a demo part, I just wanted to show you how we will be going in our sessions. So I'll be taking up adapter connections, JDBC adapter connections. What is JDBC adapter? So let me open something for you. Then we will proceed on that. So this is a guide which I prepared. Okay, it covers everything that you need with respect to JDBC adapter services, starting from introduction to up to creating services and everything. So we'll see one by one. Okay, so let's go through the introduction first. So WebMethod JDBC Adapter, what is it? It is an add-on onto the WebMethod integration server that enables you to exchange data with relational databases through the use of a JDBC driver. So there will be a JDBC driver, there will be a relational database, and using which we are going to connect to the databases and we are going to perform operations. What sort of operations? Database operations can be of two types: DML operations, DDL operations. When I say DML operations, it stands for data manipulation language. Means you can manipulate data, you can insert data, you can update data, you can delete data. When I say DDL, it is data definition language. Means creating tables, dropping tables, changing the columns of a table. So these things can't be done by adapter. Okay, DDL part is not covered by adapters. DML part is covered by adapter. This adapter will provide a seamless and real-time communication with database without making any changes to your existing application infrastructure. So if you have JDBC adapter, you can easily connect to any database and you can perform operations and it will work seamlessly without any issue. How we can understand that whether we have the JDBC adapter installed or not? Let me show you the IS admin page. So you see here, this is my IS admin page. Okay, these things, if not covered, will be definitely covered in the sessions, how this page came and everything. But you see, there is a tab here, adapter, right? If you click on, first of all, you will see it in the WebMethods adapter for JDBC. So by this you will understand that you have JDBC adapter installed. There is one more way to check. Go to packages and management. So there you should see a JDBC adapter already installed. You see, right, there is a JDBC adapter package already there. So these are the identification marks by which you will understand that you have the JDBC adapter component installed in your system. That is the first thing. So let the designer get started. So when you go for JDBC adapter, you see you will have some prerequisites that you are going to, you should have already. Okay, so you should have a database table, you should have a JDBC adapter connect and all those things. So let us just jot this point in a notepad so that it will be easy to remember. So when I am going to start with WebMethod JDBC adapter services, at that time the first thing that I should have is JDBC adapter installed system, right? That we already saw how to check. We will see the check the package WM JDBC adapter in the IS admin page where it should be in packages management. That will be the first place where you are going to see that whether you have JDBC adapter installed or not. What else you need? You need a database. If you are going to interact with database, you should have a database first, right? You should have a table there using which you are going to interact. So something like this, a database table will be there, table will be required, and you should have database table access permission. Means you should be having a user that has proper credential to execute operations at the site. So these things we'll have to. Next is point number 3. After these two things are done, we need to establish connection between IS and database. So how to do it? You are going to do it in IS admin, where you should establish a connection between IS and database. We'll see that, okay? This is one of the activities that we are going to see. Once the connection is established, we should create predefined templates, okay, that we are going to refer. I will see every step in detail. So using predefined template, etc. Using them, you can create adapter services to manipulate data in DB. Where I'm going to create adapter services? I'm going to create it in Designer. We are going to create it in Designer. Designer is our development IDE. So we are going to create it in Designer. These are the first basic steps that we are going to do in case of adapter, JDBC adapter services. We did the first part, right? We already checked this part is done. Next part, database table will be required and you should have database table access permissions. So for that, I have just opened the SQL developer and the user for using which I'm going to connect from IS. I have just logged in and I can see that there is a table already created with the name employee data, and I'm going to use this employee data table for my data manipulation. There are already a set of data already there. So I'm going to manipulate this as per my need using adapter services. We check this as well. Just now we check establish a connection between IS and database. IS admin page. This is very much important because this is the first activity which you will be doing in your real-time project, because the database table setup and all those things will be handled by DB team, and this installation part will also be done by your operations team. But as a WebMethods developer or as a WebMethods admin, you are going to establish a connection between IS and database from IS admin page, and that is going to be your first activity. Let's start with that. We'll create one. How to create? The management part. Packaging management, no, we'll close it. Right now, I'll close everything. I'll go to this WebMethods adapter for JDBC. You see, there are some connections already running. I'm going to create one more as per my needs, just to see how a new connection is executed. So, configure new connection. WebMethods adapter for JDBC. So, first of all, you are going to select a package here. Say I'll just select the opening file. What this package is for? Actually, whenever you create this connection, it gets saved in this particular package. A connection object is created and it is saved in this particular package. Whenever you move this package from one environment to another, you don't need to create the connection again. The connection will be automatically moved. The only thing you need to do is you need to change the password in the new system where it is going to move. A folder will have to be given. Then we will give a correction name, something like local connection demo. Now we will have this transaction type. Now this is very important, okay? We can have three types of transactions. Those are local transaction, exit transaction, no transaction. So from this name we can't make out anything, right? So we'll have to understand what is local, what is no, and what is exit transaction. So I'll give you a brief about them also. So let us go to our notepad and there will prepare some notes. Transaction type, local transaction and no transaction. We'll just focus on these two. In local transaction, we will have a concept of transaction boundary. It means transactions like WebMethods adapter transactions, okay, will be executed in a boundary. Means there will be a boundary which will be defined. As per that boundary, either all of the transactions will get committed or all of them will be get rolled back. Means suppose there is a issue in one of the transactions. There are 10 transactions in that transaction boundary. If there is an issue in one of the transactions, then there will be a rollback feature for all the transactions. And if everything goes well, then all the 10 transactions will be committed. Means either everything will be committed or everything will be rolled back. That is what the concept of transaction boundary is. We will see more on local. Let me give you a brief of no as well. So this is something which is a auto commit feature internally handled by WebMethods. There is no concept of transaction boundary. There is no concept of transaction boundary. This will do auto commit. Now I'll tell you with respect to database operations. Then it will be more easier to understand. You are performing select operation. So you are selecting some data from table. Are you worried like whether it should be committed or rolled back or anything like that for that? No, right? Because select is just selecting the record and you don't need any sort of rollback or commit for that. So in those cases, you will always go for no transaction because no transaction is always faster. Say you have a operation where you are going to insert say 1000 recording DB table and there is an error in say 2 records. Do you want to get that committed? I believe no. No one wants to commit anything which is wrong, we will just do a rollback, right? In that case, if it is a batch insert, if it is a batch update, you want everything to be handled in a transaction boundary. If anything is going wrong, that there should be option of rollback. In case of no transaction, we don't have that. What sort of operations can be done in no in that case? I believe only select. My suggestion, only select. If we are changing anything at DB side, it is always advisable to go for local transaction. Not only batch insert, batch update. If you are going to do a single insert also, if you are going for a single update also, then also it is always advisable to go for local transaction. But yes, WebMethods will allow you to perform insert and update statements of single record using no transactions as well. Okay, because a single row will be inserted and there will be an auto commit. But ideally, best development practices, if you are changing something at DB side, always go for local transaction. If you are not changing at something, if you are just checking details, always go for no transaction. That's how it should look like. That is the local transaction and no transaction part. Now you have a exit transaction. Now, what is this? We'll see more in details when we execute the services. But what is exit transaction? So if you want to deal with multiple databases, if you want to connect with multiple databases within sales transaction boundary, then you should go for local transaction. Exit transaction means it provides you the privilege of connecting to multiple databases with the same transaction boundary. You can have to adapt a connection to two different databases, and you can call services for those in your exit transaction part. It is rarely used. Talk with real-time project perspective, it is used very less, but yes, we should know like how it is and how it behaves, right? That is the overall brief of transaction type. So let's move on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select the transaction type as local, because local is a safer option, because I can have the select operations also done using local without any problem, and of course you can do some modifications also. So I'm going for local right now. Data source class. What is this basically? The data source class is something which is the JDBC drivers class that we are going to use. It is directly related with some properties here, so I'll come to it in some time. Server name, it is the server name of the database. Okay, so since the database is installed locally on my system, so it is localhost. Otherwise, it will be the IP of the system where the database is installed. User, you can give the username, whatever you want. I'm giving system. I know the admin username and password, so I'm giving that. If there is any other user, you can give that as well without any problem. Those things will be shared by DB team to you. Then database name, you can give the SID or service name of database. Like when you create a database instance, there is a SID assigned to it or a service name is assigned to it. Okay, so that needs to be given here. Then port number. So by default for Oracle, the port is 151, so you will give it 151. If it is SQL, it is 1433, so you will give 1433. Likewise. Anyway, this distance will be shared by the DB team to you. Now coming to network protocol, this is the TCP. These other properties, you see there is a driver type thin property which I am setting. So JDBC has 4 types of drivers. Okay, type 1, type 2, type 3, and then thin. And this thin one is the fastest among all. And for this thin driver type only, the data source class is, if I change the driver type, my data source class will change. So I'll have to populate the data source class according to the property type specified here. So next, there are some connection management properties. So enable connection pooling. So you want to have connections maintained in the pools. If you want, you will have to use it as true. There is minimum pool size as 1, maximum pool size as 10, pool increment size is 1. So I'll tell you what happens actually. Minimum pool size 1 means there is one active connection all the time in the DB. If there are 2 requests that is coming, so what will happen in the pool, by this pool increment size number, those connection size will increase. So it will be from 1 to 2, then 2 to 3 likewise. It can reach up to 10 connections maximum. 10 active connections can work at a time. Now what will happen is there is the 11th connection in picture. What will happen? If there is a 11th connection in picture, there will be a block timeout period for that. It means block timeout period is the time period for which that 11th connection is going to wait to get the connection. If this time period gets spanned like over and still that connection is not available with that 11th request, then that is going to be like it will just throw a timeout exception and that connection will not work. You will have to connect again. For that, expire timeout is something like you will have some inactive connections in your database, right? Like some connections which are used, but now they are stale, they are not getting used anymore. So it is something like a garbage cleaner. If something is expired, you should remove it from the memory immediately. So after this timestamp, the inactive connections will be removed from memory. That is how it is going to work. Ideally, block timeout should be a bit high value because you want that 11 connections to wait for some time before giving timeout, right? So it should be a high value. Expire timeout should be low because you don't want your inactive connections to be inactive for a longer period of time in the DB, right? It will consume your resources without any contributing anything to your system. It should be done like that. So these are the properties that you should take care of. Now, minimum pool size, ideally it should be 0 because we don't want any pool size to be, any connections to be active all the time. It will consume resources. You can do it 0. But yes, if the data transactions, if the transaction load is huge, at that time the pool size can be 1, it can be 5, it can be 10 also. You want to maintain connections always in pools in that case. So it can be a 0. It is a very important interview question as well. Can minimum pool size be 0? Answer is yes, it can be 0, but yes, depending upon our need, we do it. Ideally, when you are creating a new connection, keep it 1 and enable the connection. Once you see that all the connection parameters are fine, you should then edit the connection and then set this minimum pool size to 0. So that's how connection can be created. I already have a different connection created with this same set of properties, so I'm going to use that while I create the JDBC Adapter services. This is very important. Okay, you should be crystal clear on whatever you are discussing with me on this, because this connection properties is very important from understanding point of view. It is very important from interview perspective as well. I want you guys to have a look for 1 minute or 2 minutes. Think in your mind. If you have something, you can ask it now. Anyways, you can always ask me later as well, but you can just have a check, because this is really very important. So that is when I will click on save connection, this connection will be saved. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to use my existing connections. My designer will just open, and then I'm going to create what sample adapter services for your knowledge for today, and then we will just see how it works, and then we can close for today, and we will continue with adapter services in the next one. So whenever I will open this designer, this will be IDE where you are going to do the development. So these things will be covered in our course. I will just reset the perspective. I will go for service development. If you click on this plus sign here, you will get the perspective option. So here you select service development. This is a service development perspective. I'm going to create just one adapter services for your knowledge. Let's say I'm going to create one here. I'll just create one here. Adapter services. So here I'm going to say give it select employee records. So this service is basically fetch the employee records from the database table. I'll just select the adapter type. So since I have only one adapter type, so there is only one entry. If you go for multiple adapters, there will be present here in the list, like SAP adapter or other adapter process, Salesforce adapter. I'm going to take this connection right now. Okay, so there are 11 templates for adapters. We will discuss in details all of the templates, but right now I'm going to do select operations. I will select this, select SQL select. Now I'll finish it. Select the table which I want to deal with. So I showed you, right, we have an employee data table. I'm going to select that. In this table part, you can have multiple tables also selected. Right now I'm selecting only one. If multiple tables are there, then you will have to specify the join conditions here. It is not applicable right now in our case. Then I'll go to the select tab. Here I need to just select what I want to select. It means I can just select one row, or I can select all rows also. It all depends upon my need. So I will select all rows. The result field, I will just specify something like employee count just as a checkpoint. If I want to perform some equal conditions, like if the employee count is more than 0, then only I will do some condition execution. In this result field will give me the count of employees that I will be getting out of the DB. Where condition, if you have, you can specify a where condition. If you don't, if you want to select all, you can skip it. In the adapter settings tab, you will see the connection details, what you are using, and the template name. In the input output, there will be a document created giving the details what you are going to pass in the input and what you are going to get in the output. So we are not going to pass anything in input right now because we don't have any where condition or anything like that. When it will be, then automatically we will see a entry coming up here that we will see in the upcoming classes. Okay, that's for sure. You can see the log field there, how the field will appear, and then of course you need to give a service level comment here as a best practice. to understand what this adapter is doing and how it's going to behave. So if I save this, so my adapter service got saved. Now I'm going to run it. When I will run it, it will fetch all the records from the DB table. That's my requirement. So if I install this, it will not ask for any input. DB user DB passcode is a default input. If you don't give it, it will take you from the ISAG page connection which we created. If you want to give it, you can give a password. You want to pass it at runtime. That provision is also there. You can pass the DB user and password at runtime. So if you choose this, now if I click on OK, you see right, I just received the details which are present in the DB table. How many records I received? Employee count 4, right? How many records I have in DB? 4, right? Now suppose if I want to add a where condition. Say I want to put a where condition employee ID. So I can put also. I'll just add something like this where employee ID. It will be a input field, and if I save this, you see in the input you will have a employee ID one field which came there. You can edit it as per your need. So right now if I execute this, it will be a where condition of 2. So it should only pick up the employee record with having employee ID 2. Let's see that. So employee count is 1 and employee ID 2, employee name Ganesh. Let me see my DB. Yes. Ganesh is my employee ID number 2 candidate, right? So that's how the select operation works. You can do the manipulations, and of course there are 11 templates. So for 11 templates, the handling should be as per the template. You will see in the class, and this is the guide where for all the 11 templates, step by step, everything is there that is required for every adapter services. Okay, you will have everything documented here. So I'll share this document with you guys, but we will cover few things in class and then I'll share you so that you can just refer it. That's all for today from my side. Any questions up to this, anyone, before we drop off for today? Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Thank you.